Hello everybody, VorksBox here. If you haven't heard, very recently, Markiplier has released his latest film, Iron Lung, and I just have to talk about this. Now, I say latest film because it's not technically the first time he's done something like this. If you don't already know, Markiplier's worked on things like this in the past with A Heist of Markiplier and Space of Markiplier, which were a full-blown production with the help from YouTube, part of their YouTube Red / premium system. So I could talk about A Heist and In Space of Markiplier a ton, but I will leave that for a future video. Because right now we need to talk about Iron Lung, his latest video. So, I won't be discussing spoilers yet, but later in the video, I will be discussing the film in detail. I will let you know when that is, so when you see that, you know to get out if you haven't seen the film already. And with that, let's talk about this. So, as someone who is a fan of Markiplier and has seen a lot of his stuff, A Date with Markiplier, Heist of Markiplier, Who Killed Markiplier, Markiplier TV, In Space of Markiplier, Wharf Stash, it is so fascinating to see where he was and where he is, like that process. And I think the thing that hasn't really changed is the passion. Say what you want about production quality, filmography, this and that, you just cannot fake passion. And it's something he has in droves. I don't think he made A Date with Markiplier series with the premise, this is gonna make buku bucks. The Wharf Stash video is big money here. It's made because he's like, you know what would be fun? You know what's gonna be cool? You know what people are gonna like? It's just done out of passion, out of the care, out of the want, the desire to make something. And it's so brimming with the things he makes. You can see the work he puts into it and the work that the whole production puts into it. He cares so much about this whole process and he like radiates that. It screams like this is not someone who's like, oh, I gotta do this or this. This is someone who cares, who's like, this is something that matters to me. It's not about big numbers or doing well, it's just, this matters, and I want to show that. And that's what I love about all of Mike Markiplier's productions, is it's never felt like something that was done because it was some strategic, like this will perform well, but that it is something made from passion. And I love that. That is the most important thing to me. It's passion, it's care, it's dedication, it's deciding to put in more work into something than necessary because you care about the result, not about the results it has. It's about making the art what you want it to be, not making the art what it needs to be. That's why I think it's so important to keep in mind, this was planned for like 50, 60 theaters in America. This was not something that he thought was like gonna be like 4,000 theaters or whatever. And obviously he had some notion that it would probably scale up as people called in, but I would be surprised if he expected it to do this well. I feel like when he was making it, he knew he wanted his audience to be able to go to a theater and see this like a real film, you know, maybe a couple extra people come in, you know, but nothing that would be massive, some huge nationwide, worldwide release. So while a lot of the reviews I have seen do have some fair criticisms, I do think it's very important to keep in mind, this was not intended for something of this scale. Summarize. When I see things like, oh, the pacing's a bit off, well, was the pacing designed for a general audience or was it designed to represent the game? Because a faster paced film is not what the Iron Lung movie should be. This is the most authentic video game film adaptation I have ever seen. This is really a film based off of a game. I have seen films based off of the theme of a game. This is a film based on the game. And the key components of Iron Lung is its slow pace. You live and breathe in that moment. My last video about Pluribus talked all about this. Watching Mark have to rotate this, push these buttons, get up, turn around, walk back, push, wait, camera, flash. That slower, more methodical pace is so much more valuable than a fast-paced boom, 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 because it's setting up the baseline. It sets up the world and it makes it more real. I said this before, but the over-dramatized nature of life strips it of its value. And this wasn't even close to what Pluribus was doing. Wrapping it all up, if you like Iron Lung the game, you're probably gonna like this film. And if you like Markiplier's other productions, you're probably gonna love this film. Because what this film tries to do is communicate the passion, love, and creativity of that game into the film format, and it fucking nails it. Because this film recreates the game authentically with the passion that Markiplier has shown in the past. Truth of the matter is, it's not for everybody, but for the people who it is for, it's for them. When I see reviews saying, oh, if it was about 30 minutes shorter, I think it'd be better, well, it doesn't really make that film for anybody then. Trying to make and distill the film down to something that a general audience would enjoy more does not make the film better. It perhaps makes it more palatable, but it doesn't make it better. But I can't talk about this anymore without going into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film yet, I can at the very least say that I loved it. And if you like Iron Lung, I think you will as well. But with that, let's talk about spoilers. So let's talk about the lore a little bit. All the information we know is only within the sub, and also I love that the movie only takes place inside the sub. I get that it comes from like a production standpoint, but it's clean. It's such a smart move. I really thought we were gonna be outside the sub a little bit, but you don't. I know you cut, but like you don't. Come on. I'm talking about like we walk around the ship and it's like, ah, man, I can't believe this. I love that we authentically remake the game as if it was a person in there, not just the player character, but a human fucking being. But in the lore of the whole story, we don't really know much. It's just the blood oceans, and I feel like your general audience is not gonna like not having that answer. And that's what I love about this film. It really could have gone the lore heavy, this, and here is the answer, bop, and this, and this, and this. Would have ruined it, because that's not what the game is. Not that it doesn't flesh it out. It adds to the story, doesn't answer everything, keeps it vague, and if anything, incorporates elements that make it even more open-ended. Beforehand, it was just this cosmic event, and then it's just, oh, there's some weird creatures in some water. But now it's like on this scale that's like gods. Playing into elements like cosmic horror, which to say you rarely see is an understatement. I quickly just checked to see if I could find something. It said that Cabin in the Woods was a cosmic horror film. So the bar is in hell. Not saying Cabin in the Woods doesn't, but what are we talking about here? I probably should give some context here about what cosmic horror even is. It's the concept of like gods or entities that are so powerful, or knowledge that is so above us conceptually that we cannot comprehend it. It's not that you just don't understand, but maybe the horror of you understood the scope of it, but you could not rationalize it in your brain any more than that. It's a very unique type of horror because it doesn't really exist in the real world. A lot of horror comes from the fear of like death. It almost all stems back into that. I saw somewhere like this fascinating connection of like the reason that like the FNAF animatronics are so scary is because animatronics inherently have this corpse-like aesthetic to them, and that's such a crazy concept I never even like considered, but like subconsciously, yeah, that's what was happening. But back to Iron Lung, the main element of cosmic horror is that there is no answer, and a general audience might not like that. You want a nice bow on it, but the horror concept inherently does not allow for that. And I was like, going down the cosmic horror route is genius because inherently the game itself does not provide you the answers. It is a sealed in coffin and you're just like spiraling and then you die. Like you don't understand, you'll never understand, it's just hell and that's it. And then to expand upon that concept, but still keep that mystery, being like, cosmic horror, and it's like what the elements are already in the game, incorporating them into the story and then tweaking them, not even, but tweaking them in a way to make them cosmic horror adjacent with the light, you know, the void, right, and being like, and then having the creature speaking to you and like as because that makes it a perfect representation of the game, but still fleshing it out a bit more, but keeping the mystery, but keeping the tension, but representing the game. And people are like, well, you could cut 30 minutes out. Dude, I feel like I'm watching a completely different film than these people. And again, you can criticize it, but to make a film about Iron Lung, this is what that film is. If you don't like it, that's fine. But if you do, how incredible of a representation. Any difference would have watered down the effect. You have to define a baseline. And so the last 30 minutes of the film are so impactful because it's building to that. Struggling with little things like getting a button to stay shut is just fuel for the monotonous, annoying, inconvenient nature of a device and a machine that you know in your heart there's an override for that camera. There's a way to keep it running constantly. There's gotta be a command in the computer, a backup button here. It's just a series of electrical connections that need to be made that just aren't there, but it can be designed to be there. It just simply isn't, because the opinions of the person operating it do not matter. So to be fighting with a machine not designed for your convenience, but easily could be, is this real feeling. And it grounds the film in a way that makes it feel more realistic. And by allowing it to define that baseline, you can then be like, hey, that's cool. Here are gods and entities and things outside of your possible fucking understanding. And it's like, oh, that fucking butt doesn't matter anymore. Like, you cannot earn that reaction unless you sit me into this ship and make me feel like I'm there. And I will feel like I'm there when I can relate to the character who's fucking with this button that's annoying, because my god have I done that before. I might not have seen gods before, but I sure as hell have had to deal with an annoying interface. Also, what an upgrade of the monster. Holy god, right? I love this popcorn bucket design. If you haven't seen it yet, Markiplier worked with Regal to publicly release the STL files for this so that people could make their own popcorn buckets at home. And again, it's like playing into like the passion of it. Production for the main buckets weren't gonna be finished in time for the actual movie release, but Mark wanted people to be able to have popcorn buckets for the film. So fuck it. Make your own. That gesture alone speaks to the passion of this fucker. And massive fucking respect to Regal to cooperate with him to make this a public release. It's easy to hate on businesses, but the truth is they're made of people. There are some people in there who do really care, and Regal has shown that, like, come on, this is incredible. Like, I loved making this. This is just normal 3D printed filament, but I painted this whole thing. And as someone who hasn't done a lot of painting before, I'm pretty happy with the result. I think it's just so cool. I mean, just look at this thing. Just look at the details on this thing, dude. I believe it's made by a Deadly Melodic. But man, that's just, the work put into this is so good. This whole project just screams passion at a time that companies feel like they could just replace artists with AI. And I think what Iron Lung proves is how important passion really is. And whatever you say, this does have potential to have an impact on the industry. I mean, it was outperforming Send Help, a Sam Raimi film with a $40 million budget and Disney behind it, making Iron Lung the #1 movie in America on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, most of Sunday, then Monday. Even then, Sam Raimi had a budget of $40 million. My opinion, I feel like the film that's actually making the profit is doing a little bit better than the film that's still crawling its way out of debt. That's just my take. Either way, it's gonna have an impact. My fear is it's gonna be a bad one. This film shows that a passionate person who's making a passionate piece of art can outperform Hollywood. And I fear all it's gonna be seen as is a popular person can outperform Hollywood. We may see Hollywood trying to get a Mr. Beast film going, but we'll see. Because the details do matter here. It's not that it's Markiplier, it's that Markiplier has an audience of people who understands this guy cares, he's passionate, and he loves what he does. That's very different to just being popular. He's made an audience that genuinely is excited for the work he produces. When the trailer for A Heist of Markiplier dropped, that was everything, man. That was crazy. It was so exciting. And that's the audience he's made. People who are excited to see his passion on screen. Thank you to all my channel members, including Anime Mangas, for their continued support. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm excited to say that I've already started work on the next one. Here's hoping it doesn't take too long, but hey, this one only took like 3 months, so that's better than the 7 from last time. But for now, this has been Vorks, signing off. I will see you in the next video.